After watching the first 3 Mission Impossible films back to back to back, I can honestly say the IMF is the worst spy agency in the world.
Yeah.
They got betrayed by their own dudes 3 for 3. 3 movies in a row, they got betrayed by their own dudes. And it's been years since I've seen Mission Impossible 4. For this Post-Geekout Retrospective, which is a new show we're doing where we go back and watch a bunch of older movies that had to do with a new film coming out. So since the new Mission Impossible came out this weekend, and we couldn't see it until Sunday, I decided, you know what, screw it. Let's go ahead and watch the original 3, since those are the 3 that neither of us have actually seen before, and give everybody our thoughts on it. It's been years since I saw the 4th one, but I know they got framed for a crime they didn't commit in that one. I'm like, wait, were they framed by someone within the IMF? Did they go 4 for 4 on this one? I still haven't seen the 5th one, but yeah, today we are here just kind of give you our thoughts on the first 3 Mission Impossible films. Partly because, like I said, neither of us have seen the first 3 ones. We kind of just started the one that Brad Bird did because that's one that everybody kind of agreed, oh no, this one's actually really good. But also, the first 3 everybody kind of says are really bad. So like, you know, these might actually be kind of fun to rant at. And I'll just go ahead and start by saying, I don't think they're nearly as bad as people say.
No.
But I think it's kind of because we understood they're not going to be that good going into it. I know that the second one is the one that everybody says is the worst. And yeah, I'll stand by that. I think that was pretty darn bad.
Yeah, I think that was like I felt, yeah, like you said, it was kind of it was boring. And
it was really boring,
yeah,
especially for a John Woo film.
Yeah, it's like, I felt like the scenes just like dragged on too long.
So long in that film.
Yeah, I mean, like the final fight was like, okay, you could have like cut like that in half. Or
also, it's edited in a very auteur way, and by that I mean you look at it and you go, I know exactly who directed this. No one else could have done this except for this one specific guy. Yeah, it's directed like a John Woo film. It is John Woo-y to the max.
Yeah.
But it's directed like a John Woo parody.
Yeah.
Almost. Like, it looks like somebody was like, what does John Woo do in his movies? Let's just do that. Like, even with the birds flying out. But it's so bizarre because, like, the second one would just have, like, random, like, just zoom ins out of nowhere. But also, Tom Cruise is just insanely unlikable in that movie. And I don't mean Ethan Hunt, I mean Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is a very likable person, but in that specific film, it was like, fuck you and your ego. Just how dare you decide that this was going to be a good idea? Because that entire movie, the camera might as well just have been up his ass the entire time. Because it was in love with him. That movie was just convinced, it's like, no. We are selling this on, it is a Tom Cruise film. Which in all fairness, this is what the first 3 Mission Impossible films were. Because in the first one, everyone's dead immediately. Which is kind of a shocking thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially in a movie that is based off of a television series that was all about this team working together. But no, they kill them all off immediately. And then they bring on some other guys in there, and they all turn out to be evil as well. Except for Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Ving Rhames is like the one constant in these. He's the one guy who keeps surviving. I'm petting my dog to the side for anybody who's wondering what's going on. He's the one thing in there aside from Tom Cruise that you can depend on. Like, no, he's going to be back. But in the second one, yeah, he had a team, but I don't remember them at all.
And in the third one, I was like, it's a new team, so it's like, oh, this is just...
It's a brand new team, except for Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames is always going to come back.
Tom Cruise, those 2 are the only ones who are constant. It's like, oh, that's just how these movies are going to be. So.
But the thing is, Ghost Protocol, it also had a brand new team, but you knew that team. It felt like a team movie. Even in the third one, where it's like, no, we actually finally have a team. We have that one lady, and there's the guy. Don't forget the guy. He was the pilot. Remember? Because they flew a plane at the beginning of the film, so clearly he was the pilot. I think he might have been from Europe somewhere. I can't remember any lines he said, but I think there was an accent in there. Who knows? Yeah, they were like not important because it's like, no, it is the Tom Cruise movie. The fourth one, it was like, oh shoot, it's an actual team, and they're all memorable, and they're all doing things in here. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why the fourth one gets so much praise. Also, because it just went ape nuts in there. I mean, that's one where they actually had to fight a sandstorm in Dubai. Yeah, they kind of went balls to the wall on that one. All the other ones, there's stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
there?
it's just like your typical spy.
It's very basic.
Very basic, like, yeah, like, this is, like, it's like the kind of stuff you would expect from the Mission Impossible, like, series.
Yeah, like, you could have done this on a TV
Yeah,
show.
it's like, you know, villain of the week sort of thing.
So, villainy of the week. Except I don't think that they would have let the IMF have moles on the inside that many freaking times. Yeah, that was the other thing that gets me. How many freaking, like, first off, in the first 3 films, they're portrayed by someone within the organization every single time. The first one is John Voight. Second one is a guy who we just meet there at the beginning. Like, when we meet him, he's already betrayed them, but he was, like, Tom Cruise's backup guy. So I understand the appeal of that. It's Tom Cruise versus evil Tom Cruise. I get what that's supposed to be like, but it's like, dude, there's no connection between these guys. He automatically shows up and all the info we got on him is backstory. But in the third one, it's guy who was not Lawrence Fishburne, who I will just refer to as that, because there comes that moment in there in which they go, oh my god, this message had to have been sent from inside Lawrence Fishburne's office. That means there's a mole inside the IMF. And then Lawrence Fishburne makes this speech about, I will bleed so that I make sure the stripes stay red. And it's like, well, that guy's very dedicated to his cause. He's definitely not the one betraying them. I wonder who else it could be. Wait, there's only one other person from the IMF we've met in this entire film. Yeah, so there was no shock to that one at all. But it's just so bizarre to me that happened in the first 3 films. But in the first one, they get framed for a crime. Specifically, Tom Cruise gets framed for a crime they didn't commit. Second one, he puts on Tom Cruise's face to pull off this crime, but at least nobody did that thing which is like, oh, could it actually have been Tom Cruise? They didn't do that in the second one. But in the third one, when they find out that they got betrayed, yeah, they also still get framed for stealing this thing, and now they're wanted by the IMF and they're on the run from them. And then in the fourth one, I know we're not talking about the fourth one because it's been years since we saw that one, so unlike the first 3, it's not fresh in our mind. But it was called Ghost Protocol because they got framed for a crime they didn't commit, and now they were off the grid and had to be on the run from everyone else. How is that a thing that keeps happening to them? How did they get 3 out of the first 4 films that to be the thing that goes on? It's so weird to me that, like, no one has bothered to stand up at these movies yet and just go, I don't mean like critics, I mean like someone working on these films, someone writing the script for these movies. No one has bothered to stand up once and just go, haven't we done this? Like a lot? Like multiple times? We haven't seen the new one, we're seeing that one tomorrow. Oh dear God, can you imagine if that happens again? At that point, I won't even care. I will not care at all. I won't care that it's just repeating the plot. I won't care that Henry Cavill grows a beard out of nowhere. You've seen that gif, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody points out that he gets a 5 o'clock shadow out of nowhere. No one points out his jacket also gets a breast pocket out of nowhere at the exact moment that he gets a 5 o'clock shadow. As soon as I saw that, someone pointed out to me, I didn't discover that on my own. As soon as someone pointed that out to me, I realized this is 2 different shots merged together because they just like the beginning of one shot and the end of the other one. I'm genuinely impressed that you made it. I mean, yeah, like it's not really a smooth transition because, hey, he's wearing a different shirt and he's got a 5 o'clock shadow now. But the fact that just like, you know, pumping your arms, you were able to match up the animation, the action on that so well. That's pretty damn impressive. But we're reviewing a film now that we haven't even seen. But let's just go like one by one on these guys.
Yeah.
The first one, I didn't really know what to expect going into this thing. All I knew going into it is that, yeah, the entire team dies. I know that. That part had been spoiled for me a long time ago. So I had no surprise on that part. But it's weird that in the beginning, it actually kind of has like an old television show feel to it.
Yeah, it's like, it's like it wanted to be advanced, but also sort of like a tribute to like the TV show.
Where they were like hanging out, like the office where they were getting their mission given to them at the beginning of this. It was very much like, this is the kind of set that you would have in a 1970s spy film.
Yeah.
Spy TV series.
Yeah, it's like, at the time I was like, I remember like saying, it's like, is this supposed to take place in like the 70s?
You actually asked me that, yeah.
Yeah, because like, I don't remember like a date or anything, but then I like see them with like the old 90s laptop and it's like, oh.
And that's the biggest problem that this movie had for me personally. I mean, Then also the fact that it's Tom Cruise, everybody. Which I like Tom Cruise, but again, Mission Impossible is supposed to be about the team, and those first 3 movies, even when he had a team, you didn't give a crap about them. It was just about Tom Cruise. But the biggest problem, and it kind of made me realize, this really is the problem with all 90s action films that are not sci-fi films. Mm-hmm. It's that when you look at an 80s film, yes, technology will be dated in an 80s film, but long before someone pulls out a giant-ass cell phone in an 80s film, you will be able to look at it and go, this is an 80s film, it's set in the 80s, it feels like the 80s, that's the vibe they're going for. The 90s didn't have a ton of identity to their films, or to like fashion or style or anything like that. So when you watch a 90s film, everybody's kind of just dressing and acting mostly kind of like how you could buy it happening at any time. Like it could be happening today, it could be happening, in the 70s, it could be happening in the last decade. It could be happening kind of anywhere because everybody in the 90s kind of wore just pretty basic clothing. Mm-hmm. And, there was nothing really about the style or the way that films were shot, about the cinematography behind films in the 90s that really identified them. Yeah. So then when someone pulls out a giant brick laptop, it's like, oh, what is this? It feels so weird. It's so jarring when people use technology in 90s films because of that. And what makes it really jarring is that this movie was made right around the time the internet was becoming a thing. Yeah. And there's a moment in here in which, first off, he has to get a clue about who was trying to sell this product, like sell this list of all the IMF agents. And the way in which he's able to research that was like, no one would have gotten that. No one would have randomly gone to this page in the Bible and figured that out. But he has to send out an email address. And he sends it to, I can't remember the person's name, but like the scripture that he was looking for came from Job 3:14. Yeah. So he sends the email out to the person's name at Job space 3:14. It's like, you can't put a space in an email.
That's not how emails work.
And it never worked like that.
No.
And yeah, it's one of those things that it just stands out to you because you're looking at it, it's like, okay, 80s. If they had done something like that in the 80s, the computers and stuff would have been so far behind the times, like, I don't know, maybe that will work. Yeah. But you're using the internet, brother. And we all know how the internet works, and we all know how the internet has always worked. That wouldn't work. We know that's not how it works. It's just so weird to me that, like, this was made at that perfect time when people knew, oh, the internet could be used for this kind of thing. I don't know how. Just put it in here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this film feels incredibly dated. But I will say, the action pieces in here are pretty damn good.
Yeah, the action parts were good.
That holds up, really.
Yes, but like everything else just felt like awkward.
It's especially Tom Cruise in here.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, again, I think the guy is a great actor, but you can tell he did not know what this character was supposed to be. And in all fairness, Ethan Hunt in all these films doesn't have a character. No, Ethan Hunt's character is Mad Tom Cruise. That is what he is in all these films. He is just really mad Tom Cruise. And it's like, all right, that works in some of these films, but in this first one, yeah, like that moment where he's tripping out and he like thinks he sees John Voight coming in with the gunshot wound in his stomach, and then he wakes up and he's freaking out at that. I was like, oh my God, Tom Cruise is having to freak out everybody. This wasn't in the script. He's just tweaking out on set, everyone. Someone stop him now. Yeah, he just really wasn't that impressive in this one, except for in the action things. And the big thing that they always advertised in the movies when this was coming out, I remember it was Tom Cruise doing the wire thing, like coming down the wire. And I had seen that in the commercials. I had seen that parodied 1,000 times over. This was the first time I had actually seen it. That's a damn good sequence. It is. And what makes it so good is that it's not a shit ton of action. Mm-hmm. It is nothing's exploding. Nobody's running down a hallway with gunfire being shot at them.
It's just very suspenseful.
And there's no music to it either.
Yeah, that's what makes it so
It hides up the tension so much. I mean, it's one of these things where it's like, even if a bead of sweat falls off you and hits the ground, it will set off the alarms. And it's a long, long sequence. And yeah, man, I was holding my breath the entire time. That is a very good action sequence with no action. It is a very tense moment in there. There was kind of that odd moment in which, I can't remember his name, but that famous French actor whose name I'm constantly forgetting. The guy from Onimusha 3. I'm just going to list off all the things everyone forgot he did. I'm not going to list off Leon the Professional. I'm going to list off Onimusha 3. I'm going to list off Godzilla. All things he wishes people forgot. Yeah, there's that moment in which, like, the mouse is coming down and he kind of freaks out for a moment and almost drops Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back and the mouse is just dead up there. And, like, did he just kill that mouse with one hand?
I guess so.
I mean, he's kind of a ruthless nut job in the film. It's like, alright, that kind of makes sense. I will say another small problem with the film is that Jon Voight is way too damn old to have been in it. Like, Jon Voight now is way too damn old to be in it, but even then, 20 years ago, or however long this was, it was more than 20, I think. Even then, he was too old to be in this role. Because he's doing an action sequence at the end of this, and it's like, no, not buying it at all. I apologize, but I did not buy that sequence.
It's like, the thing that kind of, like, got me was, like, the exploding gum. It's like, I felt like that was, like...
That was overused.
Yeah, it was overused. It was a bit of a Deus Ex Machina, and out of all the...
Well, they introduced that at the beginning of the film. I'll give them that.
I guess so, but it's like, oh, we're stuck. Let's just use exploding gum to solve all our problems. Like,
yeah, I guess, yeah.
But it's like, it just feels like so jarring because like that is like so far-fetched compared to like all the other technological stuff.
And yeah, it is kind of weird. It's kind of like when you're watching like Moonraker. Like at the time, people probably didn't have nearly as big of a problem with it. But now all the sci-fi stuff in there seems just so weird and clunky. But yeah, aside from that, like, but speaking of that action sequence there at the end, yeah, Jon Voight's too old for it. The gum is weird. Also, the fact that he's able to, like, use the gum to take down a helicopter is like, dear God. But the end there where the helicopter goes into the tunnel and they're being chased down in the tunnel by that thing, I looked at that and that's pretty damn impressive. Yeah. And it even looks good. Like, 20 some odd years later, that doesn't look that fake. Like, it actually looks pretty damn good. And the end there with the blade coming out of his throat, hey man, I was with it. I was there with that film. So yeah, it's a pretty fun film. It's
fun once you get past all that awkward stuff.
It holds up enough. It's not a classic, but it is indeed dated, but it's not too dated. Like, you can look past a lot of things. The second one though, oh my God. The second one, though, at least looks like a modern-day film, because the first one has this weird graininess to it, which might have added to, like, the 70s feel of it.
Maybe, yeah.
But the second one, it's, they updated the cameras on that one. But, oh my goodness. They got John Woo to come in there, and, hey, in all fairness, that sounds like a great get. But John Woo kept doing the most bizarre camera turns the entire time. Like the most bizarre transitions, shooting things at the weirdest angles, and not in like an artsy way, but more in like a way that's like, isn't this awesome? And like, just take it back, like chill out a second. Like I said, all the zoom-ins they kept doing this stuff, like just like 2 quick ones in a row. But also, you can tell he was just trying to go nuts with this thing. And this isn't that style of a movie franchise. Yeah. No one in here has the personality to pull crazy, like, action movie stuff like that off. Like, one of the reasons why a lot of the bizarre stunts that Tom Cruise did in the later films was so impressive is that Tom Cruise himself doesn't feel like some indestructible, like, muscle man. He's in shape. He can do incredible feats. But it also feels like if something went south, he would actually get hurt. Yeah. And in this one, yeah, he was like Vin Diesel in Fast and the Furious. Yeah. He was like The Rock in Fast and the Furious, not even Vin Diesel. He feels like a guy who could like break a sidewalk by just stepping on it hard enough. The opening shot is like of him climbing up a mountain. Like, which I had to look that up because I know he does a lot of his own stunts today, but I thought that he actually did that. I looked up and I went to like some UK climbing website for this. And they said a couple of things about this. One, yes, that's actually Tom Cruise. Yes, they're actually outside. That's not a green screen. Yes, he's actually climbing it up. He has terrible form and could actually have really gotten hurt doing this. No one do what he did. It's like, they basically just said, yes, he actually was climbing that mountain. He was not climbing it correctly and could easily have died. And kind of makes that sequence all the more impressive.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, gee, imagine like dying on the set of like the second Mission Impossible.
That's the thing that makes these films so weird, is the fact that Tom Cruise actually does all this bizarre stuff. Like, I haven't seen the 5th one, but I do know that he actually did ride on the outside of a plane in that one. Ugh, okay,
Yeah.
I can't. Just the thought of like, oh my god, we might now be living in a world without Tom Cruise because of a Mission Impossible film. And wouldn't that like taint all the other Mission Impossible films?
Yeah.
Like, you'd go back and look at all those stunt scenes and like, why did no one stop him? Why did no one come in and say you can't actually do this? But hey man, he actually can apparently. Yeah, he's got the devil's luck on this. But I think that opening sequence really kind of shows how weird this film is.
Yeah.
Because when he gets to the top of this mountain, a helicopter comes down, shoots a missile down. The missile just sits there. It opens up, and inside are sunglasses that give him his
mission.
Yeah. His, what's that impossible thing that they're always doing? Missions. Yeah, it gives him the mission. And I was like, that's one of those things that sounds cool, but when you look at it, it's so over the top. Because I just found myself thinking, wouldn't it be way cooler if he was out there in the middle of nowhere and he got to the top of this mountain and then he just found, and they were just a pair of sunglasses like perfectly sitting there by themselves, and he was just like, what the? He puts it on and then he starts giving him the, hello, Mr. Hunt. Sorry to bring you back from your vacation so soon. Like, just something like that. Like, wouldn't that be so much more stylish? Like, just this idea that, like, man, as cool as that guy is, there's some freaking ninja out there that we didn't even see who knew that he would be at the top of this mountain already.
But then again, the MRF is not all that
IMF.
professional. IMF.
MRF might actually be a real thing. That sounds real. IMF, yeah, they're not that professional.
Yeah, considering all the moles in
How
there.
are they even a secret organization?
Not very secretive.
No. They blow up a freaking town at the end of the 3rd one. How did that remain off the books? But the second one, like, the plot is just incredibly stupid.
Yeah, and it's like...
They create this super virus, and they never really give an excuse for it, except that he says, in order to create a hero, you need a villain to start off with. And they made it sound like they needed to create the virus just so they could create the antivirus. And it's like, no! You don't, if the virus doesn't exist, you don't need the antivirus, because they keep making it sound like they were doing this for a good
it's like,
cause.
how do you make an antivirus for something that doesn't even a virus that doesn't even exist?
They keep making it sound like they were doing this with the best of intentions. It's like, no, you really kind of
No, you were just trying to, like, get money off people. That's basically, that's literally what they say. It's like, oh, we want to make people sick so they can buy our medicine, so they can, like, give us money.
Yeah, and there's that weird point later on where it tries to get smart, where they're like, all right, you have the virus, but you also have the cure for it, so we will give you this much money for it. And then they go, no, we want stock options instead. In fact, 51% stock options, because we just released the person who has the virus in her into a crowd area. By tomorrow, there'll be tons of people needing your cure. So then your stocks are going to go through the roof, and we'll be able to charge whatever we want. And we're going to have 51% of the company. So that means we'll be able to run this company and make all the more money off of it. It's like, all right, that's not the worst idea, except for one thing. They keep saying on the phone, release her into a crowd area. Find the most crowded area, release her into it. And then it cuts to her. She's just walking along a beach by herself.
Like, I think she just, like, left the crowded area and went to the beach. And I'm just like, if that's the case, how the hell is this virus contagious? How is it spread?
They never explain that.
No.
Was it through, like, physical contact? Was it, like, through, like, air?
Like,
is it airborne?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, we released her out into the world. Mwahaha. So, like, unless she, like, coughs all over everybody, or like cuts herself and bleeds all over everybody. Like, I don't know how this is gonna work.
She doesn't even look that sick in there.
No. But apparently she had like 24 hours left to live or something.
20 hours after you get injected, you die, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like...
Which also, I mean, how long would it take you to distribute this cure out there to a point where everyone could get it? Because if this thing spreads that fast... Again, also, we don't even know how it freaking spreads.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because what's his face? The freaking doctor at the beginning of this, like, he's got it. He says, you have to pick me up within 20 hours after I get this. He's on a fucking plane at the beginning of this thing.
Yeah, and it's like...
Wouldn't everyone on the plane have this? Also, weren't they like interacting with the sick girl the entire time? How come none of them have this thing? I guess they have the cure, but yeah, man, it was just made the least amount of sense of anything that I've seen this year. It was so incredibly stupid. It's a plot that's like, okay, I could see this being a thing, but they don't explain anything, and even when they're like, aha, we have released her into the wild, it's a ticking time bomb kind of thing. No, not really.
No.
And then also, like, they pick her up, like, at the, I don't even know where they pick her up, honestly. I mean, it looks like they pick her up, like, miles away from civilization. How long did it take her to freaking get that far away from everyone? I don't
know. It's like, it's...
Yeah. It's such a poor
like,
plot.
the second one is definitely, like, the weakest
it's
one.
Easily the worst. And, again, it's so... Tom Cruise in the first film and the third film and every film after that, I said he's basically just mad Tom Cruise in all those films. In this one, he was indestructible Tom Cruise. He's like, yeah, all right, I'm Tom Cruise. And it's like, yeah, no, you're Ethan Hunt. It's try and not be badass Tom Cruise in this one. But no, you could just tell that was one of those things where it's like, I have to come in here and act like the baddest motherfucker on the planet. It's like, that's not who your character is. Take it down a notch.
It's like, the thing that like pissed me off is like the girl who ends up with the virus. It's like,
how do we not even really mention her to this point?
Honestly, it's like...
She is just walking sex appeal in this film. She is there solely to be she literally becomes the MacGuffin.
Yes, she literally becomes the MacGuffin.
She literally becomes an object at the end of this film. Oh, man.
And that...
Yeah, and she has like, there's no reason for her other than we need a hot girl for Tom Cruise to make out with.
It's like we've specifically hired her so she could be the thief, aka so you can have a love interest.
But like, again, they recruit her at the beginning of this because she's a thief.
But she's not very good with thief.
Tom Cruise goes in there at the beginning and out-thieves her at the beginning of this thing. So it's like, why do you need someone not as good as the guy you already have if this is the one thing she specifically does? If you're going to have someone on your team who does one thing specifically, have them be the best at that one thing specifically. That's one thing I'll give them. Ving Rhames is at least the best guy with computers that they've had up until Simon Pegg got introduced in the third one. But at least in the first two, it was like, no, he's the guy in the chair. He's at least good at that. Like, Tom Cruise never comes in and just goes, excuse me, Ving Rhames, I'm going to show you how this is done because I'm way better at everyone in this film and everything. At least they had that, but yeah, at the beginning of this thing, the one thing she's supposed to be the best at, she's not the best at.
And it's like she didn't even want to go on this mission. It's like Tom Cruise like literally
she
had to,
has no reason to go on the mission.
No, he literally had to like chase her down in a car and almost like threw her off the edge of a cliff, but then saved her life. It's like, oh, I'm in love with you. I will go on this mission and have sex with you. Like,
I think at one point they also say that if she does it, like her like record gets what's the word? Expunged? Whatever.
Expunged, yeah.
Yeah. But I think they say that at one point. But man, this movie is so forgettable. I didn't even remember that. But they did say it. I know it's way after they recruit her. So yeah, it was like kind of past the point where we kind of need the information on her. Yeah, she is so bad in this movie. Not bad as in like acting, because no one's good in this movie. But she's so bad in like no reason for her to be in this film. She just, they could have just kept like the doctor alive the entire time. Because if you need like someone who was injected with the virus for a plot point, he starts the film off with it and he at least had a reason for it. And he's like the scientist who created it. So that at least has something to him. But yeah, she has zero purpose in this movie. Well, let's get into the third one, which I've heard some people say that they think this is the worst one. I thought like
I can understand like there are certain things in this movie that people did not like Ethan Hunt getting married and his wife ending up being like taken hostage or something.
Here's the thing about these first three Mission Impossible films, and also it's something that I will give Mission Impossible 4 and 5. I haven't seen 6 yet, but it's looking like it's going to continue this at least. at least the later half of these feel like they're existing within the same universe. Mission Impossible 1, 2, and 3 each feel like reboots. Like, every single one of them was like, alright, ignore everything from the past film. Tom Cruise and Ving Rhames, keep them around. Everything else completely changed. In the second film, his boss is Anthony Hopkins. In the third film, his boss is Lawrence Fishburne. Like, I don't even think there was mention of the last guy even in there. In the first film, it was a different guy, but at least it turned out that he was the evil guy.
Maybe the same thing happened, but it was off screen.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins turned out to be evil. We can buy that. That's understandable. But in this third one, like at the end of the second one, he walks off in the sunset with Hot Girl, and then at the beginning of the third one, not mentioned at all, and he's getting married to this woman who doesn't even know he used to be a spy. Wow, it's one thing to have it be like, oh, he's no longer with that person who you saw him get with at the end of the last film. That's one thing. For her to not even be mentioned because you've already been seeing someone else for so long, you're getting married to them.
Like, I thought, like, he was gonna get married to the girl in the previous movie. I was like, oh, that makes sense. But then I saw, oh, that's she's different. Like, that ain't her.
That's someone who looks like Katie Holmes. That's not her. Yeah, she's like a nurse who has no idea that Ethan Hunt was involved with spy stuff at any time in his life. And Ethan Hunt's even, like, retired. Like, he stopped being in the field, and now he just trains people, which that's a cool idea. Except he immediately, with one offer for a mission, goes on a mission again. Which he does have a reason, because one of the people that he trained had been kidnapped. So he's like, well, I gotta go in and rescue them. But she immediately dies.
Yeah.
And then they have all these flashbacks to them training. And it's like with the villain in the second one, where they have like one exchange and like, oh yeah, I'm your perfect equal. We had all this history. I was trained to be just like you. It's like, no, you weren't. We haven't seen any of that. This character had already died before they decided to like give us any sort of like an emotional impact.
Yeah.
And kind of like, oh man, yeah, remember all those good times? No, because we didn't see any of them. None. Couldn't you have like, I don't know, maybe have had it like be the girl from the last film and say that like, oh, they tried it, didn't work, but she's still working in the field, and now when he's about to get married, oh, that girl who he used to have a thing with and he almost got married to or something, now she's in trouble, so it's like, oh, shoot, I have to go and rescue her. No, I couldn't rescue her. Oh, well, I almost got married to her, and I fell in love with her. What could happen to my wife now? Like, I just came up with that off the top of my fucking head. God damn it. Yeah, like, it's just the laziest introduction of this entire concept. And speaking of lazy, they have to get the rabbit's foot, which there came a point 2/3 through this thing in which I was like, do we actually know what the rabbit's foot is?
No, and they never reveal it.
It's not just that they don't reveal it, it's that at the end of the goddamn movie, Ethan Hunt literally says to his boss, Lawrence Fishburne, so the rabbit's foot, what is that? Enjoy your vacation, Mr. Hunt. Or whatever the hell he said at the end of it. Yeah, it was like, wow. I understand that they're trying to do the whole, like, subverting your expectations thing of where it's like, oh, this is gonna be this huge thing. And it's like, no, it wasn't, that wasn't important at all. It was literally just a MacGuffin. The important thing was the adventure that they went on, and that's the message of this film. It's like, I understand that, but you gotta also give me stakes, and if I don't know what this is, there's no stakes.
Yeah.
The stakes at that point just become, can Tom Cruise save his wife?
Yeah.
Which, again, it's been years since I've seen the fourth one. I don't remember a wife in that one.
No, neither do I.
Yeah, so... Man, I guess the fourth one was kind of just a reboot all over again as well.
It's like every new Mission Impossible movie is just a reboot. Like,
eventually we're going to get these right, people. Eventually it's going to work, and eventually they did.
No, it's just... They're just all their own movies that just happen to, like, have Tom Cruise in the same title.
It's the breath of fire of movie franchises. It's like, alright, we're going to keep the two main protagonists named the same thing. But after that, everything's different in every installment. I guess Final Fantasy would have been the better.
Yeah.
There's a Moogle in all of them. Speaking of Moogles, it's Peach. Yeah, there's a Moogle in all of them, and that's the only thing tying them all together. But yeah, aside from that, like, I actually think that, oh god, what was his name? The Academy Award-winning Philip Seymour Hoffman. Actually, that Philip Seymour Hoffman was pretty decent in it. He had a fight scene with himself. The mask stuff was even better in this one, which the star of these first three films were the mask.
No, like, especially the second one, like, everyone was, like, pulling off masks left and right. And
it's hell, like, in the third one, there's a big reveal in which the thing that you thought the movie started off with didn't actually happen because it was a mask. And then in, like, the first one, the reason they're able to catch John Boyd is because they used a mask. Yeah, man, the masks are, like, a big deal. But at least in, like, the third one, they actually showed, like, how they made them all.
Like, and I remember, like, in the fourth one, they did the same thing.
You're right, yeah, they did. I remember that much, at least. But yeah, aside from that, I did also kind of dig... This is going to be the weirdest thing for me to say. I did dig Tom Cruise running.
Yeah, there was, like, this, like, one shot of him, like, sprinting.
Long! Like, he ran the 2-minute mile. He did the impossible in that sequence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There is that joke that everybody makes about Tom Cruise, how he has to run in all his films. Like, that's a running gag. It's in his contract. He has to run his movie. Everybody jokes about the way that he runs by karate chopping the wind.
Yeah.
That had to all have come from that one sequence. Because it is just the most, like, he isn't doing this that most people do. It is the most karate chopping wind I have ever seen. Peach is obsessed with this right now. Peach doesn't know what's happening, but she's happy about it. Yeah, it was the most, like, stiff, rigid karate chopping. But he was booking it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know that was real, because if this motherfucker is going to hang off of a mountain and an airplane and climb a building, you know he's going to run. Mm-hmm. He can do that at least.
Yeah.
So it was impressive.
That's like the bare minimum.
Yes. So it was like, goddamn, that is actually just really impressive feat. But I also kind of enjoyed, like, man, again, it's going to be a weird thing. I enjoyed the stunt of him just being slammed into a car door. But... Man, you had Philip Seymour Hoffman get set up as this big, massive villain through the whole thing. And not only do we not find out what Rabbit's Foot is, he literally gets taken out because they're wrestling. They roll into the middle of the street. They roll over so Philip Seymour Hoffman is on top of him. And a car comes up and hits him. And they even had, like, the comedic shoe fall and drop afterwards. Mm-hmm. Like, wow, this whole movie is really just kind of like, guess that wasn't a big thing. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. His wife's saved. It's fine. Mm-hmm. He has a bomb in his head, everybody. That's the more important thing. It's like, I kind of wanted to see what Philip Seymour Hoffman was going to do in this thing. That was kind of the more important thing to me. But they did also try to establish a team in this one.
Yeah.
That stuck around. I'll give them that, but they weren't memorable. Not like in the fourth one. So, yeah, it was definitely better than the second one. I'd say it's about the same level as the first one. I don't think any of them were great, but they were actually decent.
Yeah,
I think the first and third one are actually pretty.
Yeah, it's
okay action films.
The action sequences are good.
Yes.
It's like, and that's pretty much all that really matters when it comes to these sort of movies. Like,
hey man, I know it was special effects, but the opening of them like escaping the missiles on the helicopter while flying around a windmill farm, that was pretty damn impressive. And also this idea of you got a bomb in your head and you have to defuse it by using a defibrillator to electrocute yourself, which would kill you, and then try and bring yourself back to life. And I do like the fact that his wife is a nurse and she saves him by basically doing that, by basically like using CPR to bring him back to life. And it's like, okay, you know what, that's actually not bad. And also, it was one of J.J. Abrams' first films, and the lens flares, they're noticeable, but not nearly as bad as they had become. Like, they're to that point where if you didn't know this was a J.J. Abrams film, you probably wouldn't have noticed them that much. But if you know it's a J.J. Abrams film, you notice them. But yeah, I think the third one's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I do think the first one probably was the best of the first three.
Yeah, it's like, but like, it just didn't age well.
It just didn't age that well. But the second one, man, it's weird when the bad things in that movie are the best things about. Because yeah, the way that shot, just Tom Cruise just being a nut job in that film, yeah, those aren't good things. But they're the things that made me get through the film. They're the things that made the movie watchable.
They're not good, but they're entertaining.
Yes. I mean, hell, man. I more than anybody understand the appeal of a good, bad movie. Only problem is that all the spy stuff in that movie is boring as sin.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. Those are our thoughts on the first three Mission Impossible films. We'll be back tomorrow to actually discuss the brand new Mission Impossible film.
Will we be watching the 5th one or nah?
Nah, we don't really have time for that.
Yeah.
I got stuff to do. And you know what? I gave Mission Impossible a fair shake. I've already seen the 4th one, even if I don't remember it that much. First 3 ones we just watched, we're good. We're about to watch the 6th. Also, I think that if watching these first 3 has taught us anything, it's that you don't have to actually watch a Mission Impossible film to watch the next one. Because they're just going to scrap everything anyways.
Yeah, they're just going to kill off the whole team and find another person that betrays them.
Shit, man. Sometimes they scrap all that stuff in the middle of the film. Remember in the 4th one, it was like, Jeremy Renner, we're going to hand this franchise off to you. Psych! Tom Cruise, motherfucker! I'm here forever. I'm immortal. Yeah, man, Jeremy Renner for a while, that's the one thing that I will say about the 4th film. Jeremy Renner for a while was famous for being the guy who just got career blocked by the actors in these franchises coming back. He was like, you're gonna get Mission Impossible, you're gonna get the Bourne films, never mind, you're getting neither of those. The original guys are coming back. Yes, Peach.
He turns out to be the villain in the newest one.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't blame him. You're gonna be in Avengers Infinity War Part 1. Sorry you broke your arms untagged. You can't be in that film anymore. Yes, Peach. Alright, so we'll be back tomorrow with the post-Geekout reaction for the new Mission Impossible film. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.